y'all, we are in the middle of a downtown Austin neighborhood. You wouldn't really think this is a museum district, but in the backyard, you see this. So welcome to the Cathedral of Junk. We're going to take you on a little tour and show you some of our favorite spots.
Hey y'all, here at the Cathedral of Junk, one of my favorite areas is this, I don't know, internal kind of space. And what I like about it is that you can see that it's sort of sectioned by color. What I think is interesting about that is that even though it can seem really chaotic with all the different pieces that have been added, to me this gives some sense of balance and symmetry and likeness. And so while obviously this is, you know, completely non-traditional piece of art, it still gives some sense of reason to me in my kind of logical brain that's looking for some of that. So I find this area really, I don't know, comforting even, which might be kind of strange, because it's a little bit more expected, even though the items that are a part of it are completely unexpected. So I kind of like this part.
Hey y'all, I'm going to talk about some of my favorite things that I've seen in here so far. There's obviously a lot to see, so it's kind of hard to just pick one favorite, so I'm going to pick a few. One of the big things that I really like that I'm seeing a lot in here is that contrast between new and old art. A lot of modern stuff going on, and then you see stuff like this over here with the old Mozart's bust mixed with new musical kind of iconography almost. So some of those really cool aspects there. Along with some of the stuff up here on the walls and out here in the front that we're going to go see in a minute. But you can see a lot of just historical pieces, such as the elephant here from India. You've got a lot of interesting little pieces. We got Pharaoh over there, so a lot of really cool things to look at. And then out here in the front, which we'll go walk to here. So over here, we get a lot of really cool medieval art, especially ironwork. That's really nice. You get some cool swords, some cuffs. I'm kind of a big nerd for medieval stuff, so I'm sure you could probably tell on class period. But that's one of my favorite things up here is the knight with the shield, swords. We've got a Batman claw there, so those are always cool. But overall, just a good contrast of new and old art that you're seeing.
So there's one more thing I gotta show you. Sometimes art can be surprising. I was kind of surprised to find this really old refrigerator, but wait till you see what's in the freezer.
everybody. We're at the Cathedral of Junk today, and we're going to use our observation skills that we learn in science. And I would like you to notice when you first look at the structure, you might see that it's metal and a variety of other textiles and textures, but we do have some natural things here as well, trees and plants and shells embedded in some of the stonework. But I love how the artist built around the trees and around the natural landscape of his yard. So notice that as you look around.
Hey gang, I'm having a great time looking around the cathedral today. I want to share with you one of my favorite places. So as I come around the corner here, we're met by this throne. A throne is a place of power. It's a place for rulers, right? But one thing I noticed is that this place, the throne over here, is the only place in the cathedral where I've noticed crutches. You see how the crutches are built into the throne. And crutches are usually a sign of weakness or maybe injury, but a throne is a place of rulership and power. So I think it's an interesting contrast. One other thing I really like about this spot, take a look here at, the place you would put your feet, the place that you would walk, and there's so much detail there. You see, it's organized, it's balanced, but it's also a little bit random. And you'll find those kind of details all over the cathedral. It's one of the things that I really like the most about this spot. Sure. Well, can you share with us how the cathedral got started?
Well, I've been building sculptures in the backyard ever since I was a kid.
Okay.
So it's just what I like to do. If you look in the shed there at the timeline, there's a picture of me when I was 16 in my backyard in Santa Fe, New Mexico, with one of my first backyard sculptures.
Okay.
Well, I can't tell you, why I like building sculptures in the backyard. It's just it. When I moved here in '89, there was nothing in the backyard. It was just a big lawn and the oak tree out there.
Right.
I didn't have a grand plan. I didn't even own this house for the first 17 years I lived here. So I just started with a little grouping of individual sculptures. But over time, they kind of grew together to the point that people started asking me, "What do you call that?" I didn't know what to tell them, honestly. I called it Yard Space 11 to start off with, but that didn't make any sense to anybody. I just counted up the yards, and that's how I came up with Yard Space 11. My mother started calling it the Cathedral of Junk. A little bit tongue-in-cheek, I guess, like only a mom can do. Anyway, that stuck like glue, and then it kind of got a life of its own.
Okay.
So I never had this big plan, I'm going to build a Cathedral of Junk. Then, in 2010, the city made me get a building permit for this. Figures. Scam likely. So I had a neighbor who complained, and that got the ball rolling. Apparently, I crossed the line from yard art to building. It wasn't just, you can't just have, I had an unpermitted auxiliary structure.
Okay.
Okay. So one thing I had to do was I had to tear down everything within 5 feet of the property line because there's a setback.
Okay.
Right? And it previously went all the way up to the property line over there. I actually hauled 40 tons of metal out of here.
Wow.
80,000 pounds went over the scales to be recycled. That's how I know. I got the weight slips to prove it. Out of an area about 20 feet by 15 feet by 6 feet or so. So I don't know. You can calculate how many tons I've got left here. I don't know. People always want to know. How many tons do you have?
Right.
Whatever. Then after I got the setback cleaned out, then I had to have an engineer sign off on what was left over. That wasn't very easy because the engineer couldn't really model it because it's not really built like a normal structure. It's like a giant bird's nest. It's all MacGyver together. It's all just puzzled and wired. Little individual sculptures are welded, but the cathedral itself isn't welded. It's not like it's got a superstructure underneath there. It's just pieces and pieces and pieces and pieces, right? So anyway, the engineer came up with how much weight it had to hold on the various different levels, and then we loaded it up with water as a weight test. It had to be spread evenly, so we used like the big barrels and cases of water and a big inflatable pool and all this kind of, you know, stuff. So it's held way more weight and water than it's ever going to hold in people weight. And that was kind of cool because, you know, it's not complicated math. It's just this many pounds per times this many gallons. Boom. There you go. You know, what is it? Almost 8 pounds per gallon, something like that. So, you know, on the second story we put 400 gallons.
Still growing?
Well, I say now that it's 99% done because partially because of the limit of what I can do. There's a height limit of 35 feet. There's setbacks from the property line.
Right.
There's also what they call a McMansion tent line. So there's a line in the sky too. You can't just go 35 feet up at 5 feet in. There's all these lines, you know. So I've pretty much maxed out most of what I can actually do as far as major
area of the cathedral.
I don't really have a favorite area. I mean, this front room is kind of cool because it's color coded.
Right.
And I like how it seems bigger on the inside than at the outside. You know, like the science fiction Doctor Who. His time machine, the TARDIS, it's bigger on the inside than the outside. And you know, you kind of experience that here. It's like, wait a minute, it keeps getting bigger.
Alright y'all, we're here at the Cathedral of Junk, and Miss Ostarch is about to go down the infamous slide.
Yeah, Miss O!
Go! Whee!
We hope that you enjoyed your visit, your virtual visit to the Cathedral of Junk, and hope that you can come here in person one day and see all of the treasures that make up this amazing piece of art. Also, as we continue on our tour of art around Austin, think about where you're seeing truth, beauty, and goodness, because we're seeing it all over the place. So keep your eyes peeled for next stops. Thanks for coming with us.